In this video, we're going to look at the request and the response objects, which in classic ASP were the primary way that you would communicate with a web page, either to read information that was posted to a page or sent to it via the query string, or to actually then write information back or send a browser to a different location. However, in ASP.NET, the value of response and the request objects are a little bit diminished, in so much that now we have postbacks and that we have code behind and a more event-driven approach to creating web pages. However, for the sake of completeness and understanding all the things that you can do with ASP.NET, we certainly want to introduce these concepts to you. What we've done here is created a sample web page that allows us to test out the response object and the request objects. By clicking this button, it'll trigger the button click event in the code behind. And when you click it, what we've done is called the response object's write method, which will simply write a string of information called "this is a result of the response.write" statement back to the web page as it's reloaded. If we click this button, the response redirect, what happens in the code behind is we actually call the redirect method, which will send us to a new web page called request-response2.aspx. The next thing that I've done is actually used a link object from our toolbox, this hyperlink object, and I've set the properties to include a query string. So let's take a look at the properties for this particular hyperlink. I'm going to drag the properties window up so we can take a better look at it, and we're going to scroll down to the navigate URL. Let me pull it way over here. And so you can see that we're calling request-response2.aspx question mark some value equals 1. Now in this case, I've hard-coded both the first hyperlink and the second hyperlink, which if we look at its value, we send a 2. And we can perform processing on this other page through the query string through the value of the name and the value that are sent through the query string. Now for the purpose of this video, we'll simply just take the value and display it on this second page called request-response2.aspx. So now that we've given you kind of a high-level overview of what the page is going to do, or what the application is going to do, let's go in and so to test this video, I'm going to right-click in the white area and I'm going to select View in Browser from the pop-up menu. And after a moment, a browser window will appear in the main area in VisualStudio.net. And so the first thing I'm going to do is click our response.write button. And after the page is posted back, notice that the response.write statement output this this line. This is a result of the response.write statement. The next thing that we're going to do is click our response.redirect, which will actually send us to a different page, the request-response2.aspx page. And we see that that the page comes up. Now, we're going to use this page again as we use our back button. And we're going to actually use, this time, one of our hyperlinks to go to that page. And since we sent in a query string value, we can see the value is set there. And we're going to select the second one, because in this case we set the value to 2 on the query string. Now let's quickly take a look at the request-response2.aspx page and take a look at the code behind for this. When the page is loaded, basically what we're doing is placing in the lone label control that's placed on that web form the following string. The result of the query string is, and this is where we take a look at the request object. The request object has a query string method that allows us to evaluate the name-value pairs that were sent along the query string. And in this case, we specify the key, some value. So when we took a look at here, actually, we took a look at this, and we noticed that the hyperlink was set to request response to some value equals 1. What we were able to do is look for some value and retrieve that value using the request.queryString method, and it took that value and placed it in the string and then wrote it out to the page or on the label control. So the moral of the story is that the response object allows you to output information, whether that is a request that the browser refresh itself using a new URL, or to actually to respond and send out information to the browser. And the request object is used for evaluating information that was sent to the web page, whether it was posted information in an HTTP post, or if it was query string information posted in a HTTP GET, and it allows us to interact with the pages and programmatically change the output or evaluate the input. So we hope that this lesson was valuable to you and you came to a better understanding of the request and response objects. Thank you.